You never want to stop because that seed is very important. It is you. It is who you are. And everything that you go to do, the seed that is in you, that's within you, is creating the next level of who you want to be. When we can stop worrying about what's going to be big of this, what's going to be small of this, who's going to like it, who's going to buy it, when we can get ourselves out of that box and start thinking on the level that this is something that I really want to do. See, in a relationship, you have to make a relationship happen. What I mean by that is, you meet people, I meet people every day. People that I may not ever talk to again. But that one time that you talk to somebody, that you give them an encouraging word, that you may not even know what they're going through, but you plant a seed of hope in them. That person can look back on it from time to time and say, I remember when Leslie told me we could do this. I remember when Pastor was preaching about moving forward. I remember when, even though your moment, that seed in you is this big, is the moment that you start realizing that you can accomplish a lot of things. Sometimes you have to get out of your box. I had a conversation with my sister on today, and one thing I was telling her is that, one thing that we all do is we get in our own boxes. We all live within our boxes. But how we accomplish greater things in our lives is having an out-of-body experience. Let me just change that a little bit. Have an out-of-the-box experience. Because if you think about it, the best person that talks to you is always encouraging you. It's always giving you something to think about, right? Well, I said this and I keep saying it until it gets grounded. The best person that you can talk to is yourself. Only you and God know who you really are. Behind the closed doors, without the makeup, without the smiling faces. If you can be transparent to who you really are to yourself, the seed is beginning to grow. Sometimes we read stuff that people have said or done, and you're like, oh, why did they say that? They're a big Joe up here. But why did they say this minute thing? Well, sometimes the best medicine for anybody is to see transparency. Throughout some of my talks or things, or my nuggets, if you will, I get a little emotional because sometimes I'm talking about myself. How about that? The best thing that you can do is be transparent to yourself. Your seed lies within you. Who you are is a seed. It's a seed that was planted. It was meant to grow. How you determine the perception of that growth depends on you. Only you know how much water you put on your emotions. Only you know how much sunshine you give yourself. Only you know how much of an atmosphere you give yourself. You can stunt your own seed of growth by doubting yourself. We all do it. I do it. The greatest motivational speakers do it. They doubt themselves. But the one thing that we're going to learn together, because it's a together process. Elevated Not Tolerated is just not here to tell you what to do and how to do and read this and do that and da-da-da-da-da. Oh, granted, I will give you some tough love advice. But one thing that I want you to understand about Elevated Not Tolerated is this. We are here to grow together. We are here to plant our seeds together. I might be an apple, you may be an orange, your neighbor might be a pear, but guess what? We all start from a seed. We all have a seed of desire. We all have a seed of life. If we can continue to nurture what is in us, we will be greater than we think. One thing I remember my pastor said, and I'm paraphrasing, is that, we as a people, we tend to uh, we look at different aspects of our life as that we can accomplish some things. But then when we start being true to ourselves and thinking about ourselves, we can accomplish a lot. We all make mistakes for a reason, to have something to learn by. I remember years ago, back in the day, when I was learning how to sew. Hated it, hated it, hated it. I couldn't figure out how to stay on the line of the pattern. I couldn't figure out how to make the sleeve pieces go together. It didn't make sense to me. You know why? Because that wasn't my seed. That wasn't something that I was grown to do. I didn't think at one time that designing flowers was something that I would love to do. I watched my mom do it for years. She would make little flower arrangements. She would do little things. And she had this knack for it. And she would make it so personal. So one day when I was feeling a little blue, if you will, I started playing with some flowers that I had. And I started developing some things. And all of a sudden, it started making more sense to me of how to put something uniquely together. It was a seed. It was something that took over as a passion for me. It made me want to make you happy. It made me want to see somebody else glow. It was a passion. You have to use that same passion for yourself. One thing that I am learning is we evolve daily. We change daily. I'm not going to be 17 for the rest of my life, no matter how long or how much I desire to live back when I was 17. It's not going to happen. At 54 years old, I am learning that I'm still evolving. I am still nurturing myself. Sometimes we have to do something different. I was telling my sister this. Sometimes we have to change what we do. One thing that I'm learning is change the colors that I wear. Stop wearing dark colors. You have life. Wear some different colors. Just because you're at a certain age, you don't have to wear a certain thing. Designers make clothes to fit different characters in different forms of behavior, right? The first thing that comes to mind is I wear a lot. I used to, or was wearing a lot of black. Why? I'm not mourning. I'm a lively person. Let's change it up a little bit. If you desire to, let's say, do your hair differently, ladies, and you just don't know how to do it, start researching it. You'll find how to do it. If you want to try wearing makeup, go out there and find somebody to teach you how to do it. YouTube is a wonderful place to be. You have Mary Kay, you have Avon, you have all of these other things of resources out there for you to start developing. You want to be a dress designer, but you don't know how to sew, but you know how to put the needle in it? That's me. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I'll get somebody else to do it. My sister has a knack for doing jewelry. I couldn't stand doing those pieces. And watching her is amazing, but it's not my niche. You have to find what your seed is. My seed is being a chameleon. I share this with my church family and some other folks. I've always been one of those people who like to go into anything. I try something. Don't like it. I try something else. But the thing is, I adapt. I'm learning as I get older that I'm adapting even the more. Why? Because as a seed, you never know where you're going to land. If the seed is planted on good ground, like the Bible talks about, it will grow. But when I look at that portion of the scripture, It not only means that it was put on something perfect, it could have been put on something very imperfect, but because it had a desire to grow, it continued to adapt. It continued to evolve. It continued to water. It continued to grow. What I want to stress to you is that you are a wonderful seed that was created. You have so much purpose in you. You can do so many different things if you just find what you really want to do. But that comes from you being transparent to who you are. You can no longer wait for the sky to open up and drop you down everything that you want. A seed has to be placed and nurtured. It has to grow. It has to breathe. It has to be in positive atmosphere. It has to have all of the sunshine that it can get. It has to have all of the rain that it can get. There is a reason why you were planted. You have no idea how many people are waiting for you to do something that you desire to do. One thing that I'm learning, that if you desire to do something, just do it. Find out what you really want to do. If you want to be the best wife, then what you got to do is start practicing. Practicing means you have to learn to listen. You have to learn how to communicate. And you have to learn how to love unconditionally, right? One big thing is you have to learn how to trust. If you want to be the best entrepreneur in the world, you have to take a leap and start doing some things towards what you want to accomplish. That means to saturate yourself with all the things that makes your niche great. You have to determine what is different about you that makes you positive. You may think you're small, but in actuality, your dream is big. You may think that your thoughts are minute, when in actuality, it's waiting to grow. You may think that book that you started writing years ago will mean nothing to anybody, but in actuality, with the words that you've used, is exactly what someone needs. You may think that cooking that cake is just a means of having sweets, but to somebody it's a life-changing experience. Take out this time. Start writing in your journal. I think we've talked about this before. It's good to have a pad handy. Write down your thoughts. Write down what you think, because those are seeds that you're planting. Everything that you go to do is a seed. You have to remember there's pros and cons to everything that we do. Every life journey is a challenge. I will not tell you that it will not be hard some days. It is hard sometimes being a seed. Think about it. A seed is planted in the ground, and sometimes people walk over it. Sometimes it gets dug up. It gets replanted somewhere else. But guess what? It's still a seed. It is still important. So my friends, get out that notebook. Get out the date book. Set some goals. The first goal is be transparent to yourself. Know who you are. Know what you really want to do. If you don't have the means to do it, don't think it's impossible. Because as Dorothy would tell you, click your heels and just repeat, I just want to go home. So you have to start saying positive things to yourself. You have to speak positively to yourself. You have to remove your negative thoughts. You have to remove your negative patterns. All of those things that are causing you to hold yourself back. Remove them. If it means sitting down and writing out the bad, the good, do it. There was a study done many years ago. People sat down and they said to write down 5 good things about yourself.